and welcome to the next CSR Supporters PA Forum conversation. And I'm really excited this morning. I am joined with Monique Williams from Jumar. And these are a series of interviews that we're running with all the finalists at this year's West Midlands PA Awards for the CSR Champion of the Year. And I'm delighted to be joined by Monique, who was actually our CSR Champion of the Year winner at the awards. And we're going to just kind of do a bit of an introduction, and it's going to be great to find out a little bit more from Monique, her CSR experience and her journey through Jumar and all the projects and things. So welcome, and thank you ever so much for volunteering and getting involved in the interview.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
No, that's okay. So really excited. So a little bit more about Jumar. So Jumar brings people and technologies together, delivering an exceptional digital services with a comprehensive range of expertise in software engineering, cloud computing, architect, business analyst, service designs, app development, and talent acquisition. So Jumar can quickly align its capabilities with the objectives of its clients in mind. So Monique is the admin team leader at Jumar. She leads an amazing team of people who's primarily responsible for providing the outstanding services to their clients and contracts through the compliance and onboarding processes with each of the projects. So in addition to her role, and why she's on the call today, is within her role, she's also been able to have the opportunity to work with the company's social value portfolio, working alongside the Wellbeing and the Social Value Committee, and we'll hear more about those and some of the activities that they've been involved in, and also just kind of talking through some of the projects and events that are planned for throughout the year. So for you, those who don't know, Monique was the winner of the CSR Champion of the Year award at this year's West Midlands PA Awards. And I was really proud that Savient were able to sponsor the award and get involved in the interview process, and absolutely privileged to be able to present the award on the evening at the Grand Hotel. So that was lovely. So this interview is an opportunity as us as judges through the awards process. We got to find out more about Monique's journey and CSR activities, and I'm looking forward to kind of exploring a little bit more. So it'd be great to kind of, I know I've done a brief introduction, but just to tell us a little bit more about yourself, Monique, and your role at Jumar.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, as you said, I'm the team lead, the admin team lead at Jumar. I've been with the business for about 5.5 years now, and I started just doing maternity cover for one of the ladies in the team who was on maternity leave at the time. Thankfully, by the time she came back from maternity leave, there was enough work for both of us, so I never left. I'm still there, and I love it. So yes, that's how I started and ended up here.
Brilliant. That's great. So yeah, when you actually kind of, it works for a company and you enjoy that role, and I think that probably leads to very much that kind of the passion to be, the opportunity to be involved with the kind of CSR activities and the Wellbeing Committee and things that that you do as well. So tell us a little bit about the involvement with the Social Values Committee and what that actually means to Jumar, and tell us a little bit more.
Well, I actually became involved with the social value portfolio totally by accident. The company was in the process of bidding for a tender, and one of the requirements was to have carbon footprint numbers to put into the bid. And as far as I'm aware, it was the first time we'd been asked to do that. So there was a mad flurry trying to find some kind of framework that we could use to work it all out on. We found a framework. A colleague of mine, Andy Holmes, he put all the numbers together for the carbon footprint. And I was tasked with just inputting the data onto the portal, really. So I was handed an email address, a URL address and a login detail and I plugged myself in, and I looked at this thing and thought, oh my God, what is that? Because it was so
Yeah.
terrifying. But I did manage to eventually work out where to plug the data in, and we got that going. But it was when I started looking very carefully through all the terms and all the fields that I realized just how big that was and how much more the company could be doing.
Mm.
So that's when we started the Social Value Committee. Um, it wasn't long after that that we started the Wellbeing Committee as well, which was at the time supposed to just look after the well-being of employees. But there was so much overlap and we were doing such similar things. So we ended up combining the two. And then now we just call it the Wellbeing Committee because it's a nice, soft, fuzzy word and people understand it more than social value, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we are now.
Yes, that's really interesting. I suppose from an SME point of view, carbon footprints, that emissions, that's how to become more sustainable. That is quite a lot of buzzwords and things at the moment that we're hearing about. So from that kind of initial report that you had from the carbon footprint, did it then have a number of actions and things that you needed to consider as a business?
Yes, it did, yeah. Because of the business we're in, there actually isn't a lot when you're talking carbon footprint that we could change really.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we could have changed, we did. And as of June this year, we've actually been declared carbon neutral, which is fantastic. It's not the same as carbon deficit, I think it is, but we're
Yeah,
working our way towards that.
yeah,
So yeah, there was a lot that we did
yeah,
at the time. The other stuff came later. The other
yeah.
social value activities came later, and the carbon footprint has very much become part of our everyday now. In
Mm,
fact, one of the lunch and learn sessions that I've just recently hosted myself, which was terrifying, I'm not a public speaker at all, was all about the carbon footprint and not about the business, but how you could reduce the carbon footprint in your own home.
yeah.
So people have become, since then, in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, a lot more comfortable with the idea of it and started to just understand how it's not that big and scary and it's not over there. You can actually make a difference
Mm,
yourself just doing the little things. So it's become quite a big part
yeah.
of our well-being group and the
Yeah.
activities we run.
And I think I love that, the fact that actually you've been able to embrace it and be able to support the employees with how they can make a difference in their homes as well, with actual carbon footprint and things as well. So how did you go about actually sharing that with the employees? So you've done the report, you plugged all your figures into the carbon footprint, you've got all this information and data. How, from like a communication piece, how did you kind of feed that back to the team so you could get everyone on board?
Well, one of the platforms we use for all of our activities is our lunch and learn sessions.
Mm-hmm.
They're very effective and they are something we started using from the very beginning because I think anybody who's starting off on this journey will work out quickly that getting board buy-in is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And until you understand really what your options are and you can see all the options available to you, people don't realize that there's a lot of things you can do that don't need funding or sign off. You can do loads of small little educational things, awareness things. And one of the slots that we took advantage of was a lunch hour where loads of people were in an office park. A couple of people will go walking, but for the rest of them, mill around and they chat. So we took advantage of that and we created these lunch and learn sessions. And we used that platform for many of our activities. And one of them was this carbon footprint activity that we've recently done. Um, so it was easy. It's a captured audience, just fantastic. The
Yeah.
research behind it, one of the things I do, which I absolutely love doing, it's a 1 little minute message that I prep for once a week on a Friday. I send it out to the business, and it's just a little bit of information about something sustainable or something about the environment or something about the carbon footprint. And just through researching that over the last, I'd say probably 6 months, I've learned a lot about the carbon footprint. And that's how I started putting it all together, and snippets of information became a big presentation. And that's how we ended up,
Oh,
yes, at the lunch and learn session. Yeah.
I love that. I think I'm going to have to pinch that idea of those little snippets of information because I think then I bet that kind of generates conversations with other people in the office as well. Because it's like people might, those kind of fact finders or that interaction piece, it's people like, oh, that was really interesting what you share. And then you get those conversations and hopefully then encourage people to come along to the lunch and learn. So I'm pinching that one off you. Going to implement that one. So
Yeah.
that kind of journey and like you say, kind of carbon footprint, becoming more sustainable is all kind of part of that ESG and CSR. But what I also wanted to talk about was kind of like the Wellbeing Committee, which was a lot of the information that you shared as part of the interview. So could you tell us a little bit more about the committee that's involved in the Wellbeing?
Yes, so we are 12 people at the moment, and
That's
that's not
quite
hard and
big.
fast. It is quite big. Well, when we merged the two, I think there were 7 and 5, and we
Mm,
became 12. And it's open to anybody. If anybody has an initiative in the business, whether they're part of the committee or not, they just pop on and they join a session or two, and then they ask us what we can do to support them, because that's really what it's about, is supporting people that have initiatives and activities that they're passionate about.
mm,
And we try and support them in whatever way we can. So we meet once a week just for half an hour, just to touch base. All of us have got at least one little project on the go. The beauty of the Wellbeing Committee as well is that because there are so many of us, we're quite effective in getting things done, because there'll either be 6 small little projects on the go, and then 2 medium-term projects and 1 big-term, long-term project. But with all of us working together, we can pull all of those off.
yeah.
And having 3 sort of level of projects on the go at the same time just keeps that momentum going. You know, whether it's just a little educational splurge somewhere, or a winter blanket drive in the office, or whatever it is, it just keeps people awareness going, and those things are easy to run. So it's nice for us because everybody has something they can own, they can buy into, and if they don't have anything on, they can just support something else. And yeah, it works really, really well.
Yeah, that's great to hear, to kind of have lots of people involved, and that opportunity that it is open to everyone. I think that kind of very much aligns to how Jumar kind of run and operate as a business. So how many people actually work at Jumar?
We've got 120
Yeah.
sort of FTEs.
Mm.
That's outside of our contractors, but yeah, our full times are about 120 people.
Yeah, so that's great that to have that kind of committee that meet at least once a week, that are quite regular, that can actually interact and kind of share their ideas. So, then, what are some of those ideas or events that have been gone down really well and been really successful?
To be honest, we've been really successful in all of them. We've
Brilliant.
been really, really lucky. And I can only contribute that to the fact that we never do things as a tick box exercise.
Hmm.
Every single activity that we've put together has been as a result of something that's been important to somebody within the business. It's either something that's close to somebody's heart, or something that they've read their community needs. So it's really easy to get the buy-in, and really easy to get the momentum and the volunteers when it's helping people with things that are already a real thing for them.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we've been very, very lucky. I think still one of the favorite ones we did was the care home visit in December. Um, but we also have done, well, my favorite, absolutely hands down, was a social value day. I think there were 30 of us, and we were batting volunteers off. You had to really fight to get your spot. We've got a second one of those coming actually, and we've got the same problem. But it was a social value day, working out in Stratford and one of the forests that are managed by the Heart of England Trust. Um, and we were tasked with taking the little plastic curly things off the bottom of the trees. And
Okay.
the little woodland that we were working in, it's only 10 years old. So those trees had been planted as babies. The little plastic things had been put on to protect them. And when they get to a certain age, that plastic has to come off. It was really hard work. It was the middle of June, so it was piping hot. We were all hot, sweaty messes at the end of it, but it was thoroughly rewarding. And I think we managed to free about 3,000 trees that day
Wow.
between 30 of us. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And as I say, we've got a second one coming.
Yeah.
And then we have these little nutrition workshops, which I really enjoy, and they're very, very successful. So I think we've done 5 now. So I
Mm.
think we've got the third or fourth microgreen one coming up. We started a potato growing one as well. The intention was to have that running before Christmas, because it's cold. Um, it's a nice belly filling food. It's nutritious. It's very rewarding because you can literally put 3 potatoes in the ground and have 30 come out. It's a great thing for people in the community who are struggling financially to do. You can do it in any size property. But we had that weird little cold spell, so all 200 potatoes that were ready to be put into the workshop never chitted, so
Oh
they were
no.
all eaten, and now we're starting again next year with that.
Oh,
So
and
yeah.
I know that during the interview when we were chatting, you talked about the projects with the different recipes and things, and about how to actually make good meals or products and things out of the actual either the vegetables or the seeds and things that you had. Could you tell us a bit more about that project?
Yeah, so part of our nutritional drive is to try to encourage people to grow their own if they can. That's the most nutritionist time it's ever going to be.
Hmm.
And also to buy local because there's less of a carbon footprint and it's going to be healthier and fresher by the time you get it. Um, and then on the back of that, it was how to add nutrients to a very simple meal. And it's things that people don't think about, like the herbs and the spices, which also have a nutritional benefit. So we've also all about recipes that go out, which are really simple, pretty cheap to put together, can feed a number of people, and you can add things like a certain spice that has a particular amount of vitamin C in it,
Hmm.
or vitamin D or whatever it is at that time of the year that people are looking for, particularly now going into winter and with COVID flaring up and all that sort of thing. So we've now got that group working on menus and things as well, which we're trying to spread out for people. That's been quite successful. And actually, a lot of people are already quite involved in that, which has been fantastic.
Yeah,
Another thing that's come out of that is the different cultures and the different types of food.
yeah.
So people are a little bit more what's the word, adventurous, I'd say. And previously unaware of the fact that you can just add cayenne pepper and get massive amounts of nutrients or a
Mm,
couple of microgreens. So
yeah.
yeah, very
Yeah.
rewarding.
And I love that kind of like the nutritional kind of programs and the schemes and things, and just being able to kind of educate people and everyone kind of gets involved as well. And I know I saw from all the social media posts and things the Wellbeing Week that you do. Is that twice a year or is it once a year? I can't remember
It's
exactly.
twice a year.
Twice a
Yeah,
year.
twice a year we do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when was the last one of that, and what kind of activities did you do as part of that?
The first one was in May and the last one was in September.
Hmm.
Um, the activities are always along similar themes. We always have a financial support. So we have somebody going in just giving financial advice to people, free financial advice. We have stretch sessions or PT sessions. We encourage people to do walk and talk meetings instead of having meetings in the office if they can. There's always a wedge on food, different foods. What else do we do? We always have a charity drive. So I think the one in September we did, it was actually a shoe collection drive and a jacket collection drive, also going into winter. Yeah, so we've got 2 wellbeing weeks again next year, obviously. Next year, we're going to focus quite heavily on menopause, especially within the workplace, and very heavily on men's health because, yeah, I mean, just are not cognitive and not aware, and they don't talk. So it's something that we're working quite heavily on. And
Yeah.
very excitingly, we've managed to find a number of clients who are very, very keen to get on board with that and support. So
Yeah.
we've been able to do and organize a couple of joint ventures with some big clients, which is fantastic, just
Yeah,
to
that's
help create
amazing.
awareness and education.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's like sometimes with actually the struggle to get volunteers and people to kind of help. I think that's one of my stumbling blocks. It's like I could probably tell you my top 5 volunteers in the office that I know hands down are always going to be there, always going to kind of be involved. But I love that you've got so many people at Jumar that want to be able to help with the kind of the social value and be involved in the committee and the events, and to actually be turning down people to volunteer, yeah, is fantastic. I know that at Jumar as well, you have a number of volunteering days that you have, and is that something that anyone can do? To kind of get involved in any projects that they're passionate about, or is the ones that as a kind of group you put on and organise days? I know you've talked about the different some of the events and things, but I was just wondering how the volunteering days work.
So we have both. We have
Okay.
company organized ones. Everybody in the business does have 2 social value days that they can use every year.
Hmm.
And a lot of people struggle to come up with their own. Not that they have to. Some people, that's what they do and they're great at it, and we support them fully. For example, if they do a charity run on a Saturday, they'll often just get that time back from the company in lieu of that, because we couldn't
Yeah.
support them in any other way, really, other than marketing or fundraising. So we organize day activities, full company day activities if we can, and we try and get as many people on board as we can. We never struggle, as I say. And then, yes, people are welcome to go and do their own. And we have also found that a big problem was that people didn't understand what a social value day was.
Yeah.
Just last week, I had a lady who's quite new to the company give me a call, and she said she'd really love to get involved and she wants to be able to use her social value days, but she's really scared of worms, so she doesn't want to go and plant trees. So I said to her, it's not about planting trees, it's anything that your community can benefit from. So look
Yeah.
around you, see what your community needs, whether that's reading to kids who are sitting in foster care, or providing blankets for kids sleeping rough, whatever it is that your community needs. Look around, see what grabs you, and
Yeah.
bring it in, and we'll see if we can help you. So there's a lot around education on what a social value day is and what social value itself actually is, and how
Yeah.
easy it is to do something to make a difference. So
Yeah.
we encourage both, and that's a big drive for next year, is to be able to make sure that everybody understands you're quite capable of doing your own thing, and we'll support you as much as we can.
Yeah. And I think that's great from a social, a community, being able to kind of help out in our communities and be able to support those that are less fortunate than ourselves. And I think one of the other things that Jumar's really good at, and the committee, is actually being able to educate others, and be that with outreach projects or careers events, talking to kind of the future generation to be able to get them involved, be that in an IT career, or hopefully a business support or administration kind of role that we're kind of championing. Tell us about some of those kind of schemes and things that are happening.
Yes, we're very big on supporting that and bringing kids up to speed. Last year, or this year, we hosted a Woman in Tech Day. So we had students from a local college come through, um, and we had some of our young developers working with them. They gave them a little task to complete by the end of the day. Um, we've got another one of those coming up. Actually, I don't know what the date is for that, but I know there's another one in the pipeline. We're also very big on going out into our local schools. I think first week of October, we had 6 staff members go out and they chatted to 130 kids about career opportunities. And you don't just have to be, it's not one of 10 things, a policeman or a fireman or a teacher, whatever. You can be whatever you want, and it doesn't matter what gender you are, or
Yeah.
any of that. And then they did mock interview practice, and they did advice on CV content. They provided them with templates. They did a bit of practice writing, and they did that for year 10s, I think.
Mm,
They're going back again in December to do another group of year 11s just
yeah.
ahead of mock exams. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
lots of that. And
Yeah.
people, the
It's
more, every time we go, there are more and more people that are involved, and we do those about 6 times a year, I'd say.
And I think it's really important. I think the I love getting involved in kind of lots of outreach events. I was doing an event on Monday from all different businesses, and it's been able to try and share what all the different companies that we all work for, and what potential career opportunities and pathways there are for students and people to get involved in. So I love all that. So who's the big driving force behind this? Because I think when you've got a kind of committee and you've got so many people so passionate about all the ideas and all the events that you could get involved in, and I think one of the hard things sometimes is actually saying no as well, because you do so many different things, don't you, that it's like we can't possibly do all of this, because at the end of the day we have got a day job. We are there to run a business as well, but there's probably someone here that's the driving force at Jumar, and who kind of like oversees some of those activities, or the committee. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So that's a very valid point. When I'm thinking about why things are successful, it's because we've got a very well-rounded committee.
Yeah.
And as you'll know, for any of this kind of work, you have to have the emotion. You know, it's the person who sees the child sleeping rough and who really feels it in their heart, who wants to make a difference, and they'll get the ball rolling. And then it'll take a creative person to see the solution to that and how to fix that problem. But
Yeah.
it doesn't always work with just emotional and creative people. You have to have one hardcore, black and white, organized person who's just there to make sure that that creative solution fixes that emotional problem. And I think that's why we're lucky. There are probably, I'd say, two key people in the Wellbeing Committee. One of them is our HR director,
Mm-hmm.
and her assistant, who's also, she's that black and white, hardcore, unemotional, yes, no, can, can't. And they're really good at organizing. And when we all get really overexcited and we just want to keep going and everybody's throwing ideas around, they're the ones that go, hold on, let's just put that there, do this, move that over there. They're really good at that. And then the rest of us just are absolutely crazy passionate about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's easy. I don't know. We just have that little magic combination. We're very, very lucky.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's really great to kind of hear more about it as well. So, if you've got a big event coming up for Christmas, or what's like the plan? I know you've talked about the wellbeing weeks that you're going to be doing next year, but what's the plans for Christmas, or what's the buzz and excitement that's happening? You're probably giving some secrets away, but you can.
No, we are going to do another care home visit, and we're trying to do more with children around Christmas this year. There's a
Brilliant.
lot more red tape I've discovered working around children's organisations, so it's a bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that we get something off the ground before Christmas, but if we can't, then it's the kind of project that we can probably carry on through the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're working on coming up towards Christmas.
Okay, that's fantastic. So before I kind of come to an end, I think we've probably seen on LinkedIn and things that it's coming up to the nominations are open for the West Midlands PA Awards 2024. Can't believe I don't know where the years are going. But what I'd love you to be able to share is kind of your experience of the awards process, what you'd say to either others that are thinking about either self-nominating or being involved, and what your kind of takeaways are from the awards experience.
It was absolutely brilliant. And I'll be very honest, I was terrified going in, absolutely terrified. But what I would say is don't doubt what you and your team have done. You know, even if you've only done one decent thing, it's one more thing that your community had done for it, that benefited it. If you hadn't have done it, there'd be one activity less beneficial. So be proud of whatever you do, and put it forward, and just get on with it and get it done. And chat to people who've done it before. It's
Mm-hmm.
really not as scary as you think it's going to be, um, because people are all just there for the good of the communities around them. They're all supportive and they're all lovely and they're all amazing. And yeah, try and get people onto the CSR group as much as you can. I have to tell you, the CSR group was the most beneficial group for me through the year, because although I'd been working through all these terms, deciphering them and decoding them literally with a dictionary next to me sometimes, trying to work out what that meant. It was only in this first session that you hosted, Sarah, when you talked about the different pillars, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like a light bulb had been switched on, and I suddenly realized how they all fitted in together, because that's not what I do, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, if people are nervous about what they do and they don't think it's enough, just simplify it. Look at those pillars, think, well, yes, absolutely, I've done that, so I can plug that in there, and just break it down, and bring it back down to simplicity. It doesn't have to be the biggest or the fanciest or the most expensive event that's ever been pulled off.
Yeah.
It just has to be one that's important to you. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. No, I'm great. I'm really grateful that you to actually be part of the CSR supporters group. And hopefully, yeah, we can just help others and other members to kind of broaden their horizons and how they can actually get involved and be passionate about something that they love to do. So a massive thank you from myself. And I know Dan would completely echo this as well, for joining us, and congratulations yet again for being the CSR Champion of the Year at the awards. So
Thank you
thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you, Sarah, and thanks for the opportunity.
No problem.